What is happening, fellow Cobras? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing how Mike Barnes could possibly be introduced in Cobra Kai Season 5. But before we get started, if this is your first time being here with us on the channel and you love Cobra Kai and Karate Kid, you're in the right place. Consider joining our dojo today by hitting the red subscribe button down below and turning on all notifications so you never miss a new video. Karate's bad boy, Mike Barnes, is next up on the list of characters set to return in the Cobra Kai series. But just as we all wondered with characters like Chosen, Kreese, Ali Mills, and especially Terry Silver, what has Mike Barnes been up to for the past 30 years? Is he a changed person? Has he been still training? What are his motives and personality going to be? Because a lot can change in 30 years. You look at a guy like Chosen, he went from a guy that was obsessed with honor and wanted to kill Daniel at one point in a fight to the death. But now, is he a balanced and respectable person with a changed outlook on life and actually regrets what he did in the 80s? But although, on the other hand, with some of the legacy characters from the Karate Kid franchise like John Kreese, not much has changed since the 80s. And so I've really narrowed it down to one of those two possibilities being the case for Mike when he does come back into the franchise. But to potentially get a better understanding of where Mike could go in Cobra Kai, it's best to look at his character back in the Karate Kid 3. So back then, he was a national karate champion, not just in a regional division like Daniel and Johnny, but a champion in the whole country. His primary motivation was money and ownership of dojos from Silver to torment Daniel and beat him in the All Valley tournament. But as for how specifically Mike could be introduced and his motivations, I could see Mike being in a similar situation to what Silver was in at the beginning of Season 4. Because maybe he's moved on with his life, not as rich as Silver, but leaving the past behind, and isn't quite as bad as he was, but he still may have a temper. And I could see Silver getting in touch with him somehow because of what he said at the end of Season 4, that he'll dig up an old friend or two to help out with the dojos, and he'll propose the same deal that he did with Barnes in Karate Kid 3. But Barnes will deny the offer at first, I think, and the only difference that this time, though, is that Cobra Kai has already won the tournament that would allow them to be popular enough to expand the dojos into other locations across the valley. And the way I think that Silver will reel Barnes into this plan is that he'll be guaranteeing Barnes ownership and money that he once promised but was never able to fulfill in Karate Kid 3. And like I said before, at first I think Barnes will have moved on and living on his own. Not quite in poverty, but definitely not in riches either like Terry was. But this offer this time around will definitely give him the opportunity to do what he loves and now live lavishly. So once Silver does some convincing of Barnes and the specifics of this deal will be brought to light, I think Barnes will snatch up that offer immediately. Because if you really think about it, that's just too good of a deal to let pass by. Barnes is a national karate champion and possibly knows a lot more than we actually saw in Karate Kid 3. So the fact that a job just drops on his doorstep about him teaching classes and actually owning a dojo, like, come on, how can you say no to that? But it is very important to mention that on the other hand, Barnes very well could be a changed man like Chosen or even perhaps Bobby in a sense. And as Silver proposes this deal and brings up the possibility of combating Daniel LaRusso, he may just deny Silver right then and there and then spark an interest to join Miyagi-Do in the fight against Silver for leading him astray and ruining his tournament streak back in the 80s. And while I definitely like this idea of Barnes joining forces with Daniel, and it's definitely very interesting, I believe this is definitely not going to happen for a number of reasons. Number one being Daniel has already enough allies to combat Cobra Kai. He has Chosen, Johnny, he could even have Bobby, I bet, if he wanted to, and you never really know. He potentially could have Kreese once he gets out of jail, as crazy as that sounds. And if you even factor in Barnes potentially joining Miyagi-Do, that's just way too many cooks in the kitchen or senseis in the dojo, if that makes any sense. And in my opinion, that just puts Miyagi-Do a little bit too stacked and far overwhelming for a guy like Silver, at least from a story's perspective. Barnes is definitely going to be the key for Terry because he's definitely going to need Mike on his side, especially to help teach at some of the new dojos. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that Barnes will definitely be the backup that Silver needs against the new enemies of Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang. We can't expect Silver to carry out this rivalry against them on his own. And now with Kreese gone and in prison, he's definitely going to be needing some help. And if Terry and Barnes do actually end up getting together, this would have two of the people that Daniel fears the most, and them being back together will change the perspective and the dynamic of this feud, especially from Daniel's point of view when it comes to how to put a stop to the Cobras.
Let's show him what I'm talking about.
Nobody's talking about shithead.
We have an agenda here, Daniel. It's really very simple.
You guys are crazy.
Either you fight one fight on one day, or you fight every day for the rest of the
But with that being said, guys, that'll do it for this video. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments section, how do you think Mike Barnes will be introduced in Cobra Kai Season 5? You know what to do next. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and make sure you're subscribed to Strike First Media. There's more and more videos coming on Cobra Kai Seasons 4 and 5 that you won't want to miss. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.